Alright, no, I gotta stop. This is... Oh, wow.
This is Blue Water Peters, your knowledge fanatic and enthusiast, back with some new content for you. I just want to dive right into it. Leave a like, subscribe, and comments on your suggestions and questions. Make sure to keep those DMs coming in, direct messages. It's great to have those conversations and to connect with other Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people who have some questions or suggestions about what's going on the latest. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, there's a lot of havoc going around with the Kinder Morgan. And Ken Hansen had signed the Kinder Morgan and said that his personal vote was not for it. Now, when he said this, he had two options. Now, he took a look at the treaty option, and it was the worst treaty ever. It was only to put people in the position who were already at the top with the most property and assets in a position where they can flourish. Now, there was nothing really left to put towards the people, like for the people on reserve, never mind the people off reserve. Now, this is definitely not an option, so Kinder Morgan was acted as a scapegoat, or also could have been looked at as an opportunity to revamp for the economy of YALE First Nations. Now, we could already see some results of this. As I discovered, there's new professional help hitting two birds with one stone. There's avoiding the conflict of interest, knowing that they're not members, that this could be their passion, a stepping stone towards a career, a paycheck. Now, this is good. This is good. So what do they do with the rest of the money? Now, investing into the jumpstart of YFN and focusing towards the debts that happened in cause of the stopping and abandoning the treaty. There's a lot of debt that comes with that. So now there's another option. Of the alternate option is putting and allocating the monies to every individual. Now, I could think of so many ways that this could support me personally. I would invest it into more textbooks about the body language, about natural remedies influencing individuals, masses of people, leadership, micro expressions in Europe, psychology, intelligent investing books, accounting, effective habits that keep me on a very high, sharp level, guides to resolve pain, prevent injury, optimize athletic performance. These things that already I've read, all these books, but I want to read more. I need more textbooks. So, and flipping houses on Canadian land for profit. There's so many things that I'd like to look at. There's so many options, and there are some other options that some people might have in common, like debts, like student loans or credit cards, job losses, or paying off assets or properties. So, I mean, having that money gives a sense of feeling and security already. There's experience that comes with that, and there's investment opportunities. Now, there's a lot of cons that come with that as well. I mean, some people may be uneducated that simply don't know. Now, if they had spent all the money knowing or feeling that there will be more money, there's a sense of feeling stranded and becoming reliant onto the band office for continuous disbursements of money. Now, there's no return or profit into the investments that they chose, like cryptocurrency, one of the most recent investments that are out there today. There's one cryptocurrency that took everything and promised way too much and got away with it. Now, there's potential negative effects that happen after spending all the money. There's depressions, there's addictions, and getting into more debt than when they started. So there's a lot of things to definitely look at here. Now, Ken's choices in getting professional help and getting an eco jump for YALE First Nations, and in result of that, seeing a community planner, a CC plan, and there's a health coordinator and whoever else is involved. Now, one of the choices that Ken did make that I really don't like, that has personally insulted me, like, I want to say that it pissed me off. Like, it put me in a very emotional state. I had to stop all my research. I had to stop all my structure. I had to turn the camera off, and I had to get myself together. Now, off-reserve people don't benefit. Let me just say that. Off-reserve people do not benefit. I quote Ken when he said, "I think our community has become dependent on our band office for cash handouts." My family, and I know neighboring families, have either white knuckled it or got themselves into a smart position where they pay for their own kids' lunch, they pay for their clothes, we pay for everything inside our house when it comes to whether it be a maid or the furniture, the educational books. I myself, as I've mentioned earlier, I've paid for all of my education, and I've gotten myself into a career path of my passion. Now, these are things that I've done without YALE First Nations. Now, I'm not here at the bottom of your teeth waiting for a distribution. I am not dependent on you. All I know is the fact that every single one of our names as membership have a right individually and equally to YALE First Nations land. And if I see that all the money is going to the community, and granted there's a lot of successful things going on in the last 3 years with the small amount of time you had, there's so many things going on, and that's respected, that's granted. But after all of that time, the 4 or 5 years that have been passed, none of it has benefited me. I just know my right. I just know that my name and my individual membership that has granted you that money, it hasn't come to me in any way where I can benefit myself greatly. It's taken away from me, and I'm told that I'm dependent on it. Now, this is outright disgusting. I know my rights. Don't tell me I'm dependent. Honestly, I wanted to come from a nice point of view where I want to say I want to grow old. I want to be, I want to be old, and I want to say that YALE First Nations was a part of my life, and I want to tell my grandchildren and their grandchildren. I wanted to come from a nice spot, but you hit me the wrong way. Now, I want an apology to those members who aren't dependent. We're making it out here. We don't need you. So give us our right. Now, I have a few questions about the CCP. The FNHA, I don't know what that is. The FNs, I don't know what that is either. 2 out of 18 things that I will be using as the actions for the CCP is the regular meetings in the actions and the tours of land use. Now, the regular meetings doesn't even count because that's something I wanted already. Now, the tours of land use was something that I already wanted to explore a year ago. Now, these are some things I can already access already. So it almost doesn't even count over the 18 things that are offered. It could be give or take one. So, and my last question, yes, we accepted the Kinder Morgan, but are you taking advantage of the 2% cap lift from December 2015 to the Canadian government? There's millions, millions, billions of dollars, and I won't name the numbers, but there are hundreds of millions and about $2 billion, all in separate accounts for First Nations on reserve. Are you taking advantage of any of that? The things about improving reserve water and sewage infrastructure, improve solid waste management on reserve, First Nations education infrastructure on reserve, address housing needs on reserve, for general infrastructure on reserve, and cultural and recreational infrastructure on reserve. Now, all these things have billions and millions of dollars allocated specifically for those things for Canadian Indigenous peoples. Are you taking advantage of that? If not, why? And if you are, where? All right. So thank you very much for joining me today. I definitely appreciate it. There's so many things that I would just like to talk about more, but we don't have much time. So thank you very much for joining me. This is Blue Water Peters, your knowledge fanatic and enthusiast, coming at you with the latest. Bye-bye.